And welcome back to NLC. Now on to the desk itself. It was a long game, 40 minutes plus. It was really calm at the beginning of the game. We have to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. We had strengths, the feats of strength and all that, but still it was a slow one. And until Rich Gang got a hold of it, I didn't see the game going anywhere. So I need to understand what happened until that point. Can anybody help me?
Can anybody help? Duckling?
Yeah, I mean, if we were to summarize, we've chosen some replays and we think we're game defining, right? And both of those are after the 30-minute mark, which kind of puts into perspective that there wasn't anything major originally. There were some small skirmishes for objectives. They get shared pretty evenly early on.
Whoa. Hold on.
Go on.
I'll sum it up with really simple words.
Okay, go on.
They were doing nothing for 30 minutes. Absolutely.
I mean, that's one way to say it. That's one way to say it.
I just made it very clean and simple. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Right. There you go. There you go.
I thought you had an interview for us. Oh, I mean...
I'm just wondering if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm very ready. But
Nothing.
aren't you doing the interview? Because nothing happened in the first 30 minutes. And
Nothing.
that's a good conclusion.
Okay, Lottie, we gotta talk. We gotta talk, Lottie. It seems like Vesk is having a situation. Lottie, what happened?
Not much, I would say, not much. Chilling around, around the mid-wave, putting down some wards, not contesting, and yeah, watching them clearing the vision, then I put down my vision again, and yeah.
What was the
Basically,
game
that's what happened.
plan at the beginning of the game? Because you have
The
the
game
engage, you have
plan.
all that. Yeah, the game plan, Lottie, come on, be honest.
What was the
Everybody's
game
watching,
plan?
just you and me,
I think like now should have much agency, but like level 1 there happened something interesting between Corky and Na. They were not really sure where they should go, and then Na got a bit set behind, and then Na couldn't have that much agency anymore. So yeah, like our main win condition, who was in my opinion Na, he has a really good matchup into Kazanta, should always have first move. Yeah, and then like they could scale against it because now was not that early, that far behind ahead, like how he should, and then yeah, they could just stall it out and outscale us, so we couldn't win any team fight anymore.
But you gotta be honest, it's a valuable VOD for you folks, so you understand like, hey, where should we do this? We should have went on this one. We should have taken a hold of the game. Right? It's an important one. I know it was a loss at the end. It was a long as well. But at least there's some valuable information, especially for the team that's still starting.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can for sure learn something out of it. I think we should have taken way more fights,
Yeah.
Put the balls on the table and just go in,
So tell me something, Lottie. Tell me something. This is your opportunity to redeem yourself, okay? I'm a new viewer. I joined on NLC. I know Reddy's playing Los Ratones and all that. And I'm like, Venom Crest won previous. Okay, I need to see this. And I get the 40-minute game. I'm watching you right now in the interview. I'm a viewer. So, for Twitch, what do you want to say?
What did you say again? Like for what? What did I say?
It's happening, game. You're doing the same on the interview. No, I'm a viewer. I'm watching you, and I'm like, Lottie, you can talk to me. I'm Twitch chat. What do you have?
Okay. I mean, like we will play, I think, on Sunday again. So you should for sure take your time because the games will be long. There will be a lot of dancing around, the vision and stuff. So should for sure tune in for the Venom Crest games, and yeah, and root for us.
That's it. Root for
Root
Venom
for
Crest.
us.
Lottie.
Root for me, for everyone in the Venom Crest gang.
I love how you just lost. Okay. Final question before I toss it back to the desk. That little blue thing, that's a case, isn't it?
Yeah, they're my magic tricks for Sunday. I think is the next match day. They are my secret weapons inside.
You're a magician?
And then... Musician? No. It
No,
was for
magician.
What? I don't
Do you do
understand. My
magic?
English is too bad. Yeah, I'm
Magic?
a magic.
You do
I'm
magic?
a magic.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Lottie, next interview, I want you to do a magic trick for everyone.
In the winners interview, I will do it. Losers, no.
Okay, on winners interview, you do a magic trick.
Yeah, I will do magic trick.
It's agreed. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the winners interview.
Thank you.
There you go. Oh, we gotta get a magic trick.
That was brilliantly
ready.
chaotic, right? That was brilliantly chaotic. In a game that happened nothing in the first 30 minutes, more happened in that interview. If we have the replays ready,
You know what? Content.
Yeah, it is it's peak content, right? I'd really like to start looking at some of the replays if we potentially have them, because there was a few fights very deciding. There was one where Trouble, I know, was a bit unhappy that the Venom AD carry Maruki did get caught out playing a bit too far forward, and yeah. Oh,
This
that's
one,
not the
you
one
know
we had
what?
first. Go on.
This one I'm more bad about. They have no reason for Venom Crest engaging in this fight, knowing that their Gnar had just TP'd mid, headed all the way bot, and started pushing again. They know they have disadvantage on TP, and their strongest player is nowhere near on the map. And this has happened to a lot of teams that we've seen, especially yesterday as well, where you kind of lose patience. You're on the same page, right there, Venom Crest were on the same page exactly, even gold, they have enough strength, their best player has no TP to join the fight, even though there was an overextension that right there, it doesn't matter, because you will be one man down at any point. And again, being a little bit impatient in these plays, kind of go back to bite them.
Yeah, I think if we can pull up the second one, right? I think you're highlighting maybe a point that this Venom Crest roster, again, very unexperienced in terms of rookies, have to work on, because they were a bit too naive, because many times, you know, as Laurie said, you know, they're playing for the vision, they're playing slow, but here, Maoki, right? He's looking for the opportunity. He's tired. Nothing has happened for the past 5 minutes, so he wants to make something happen. And it's the wrong decision here. He's fishing for something, but instead, he's the one who bites the bait. And yeah, he gets taken down. This turns out to be a huge fight. And while Rich Gang were already leading, the game wasn't decided, and this really was the final nail in the coffin. So if there is one thing this Venom Crest roster has to work on, it is that patience, because it's quite clearly here that patience from Maoki has run thin. He wants to make something happen, and ends up being the one who gets made to look a fool in this one. They end up getting, I think, the ace, no, not the ace, Elijah's in top lane, but get 4 kills, and that transitioned into Soul, and yeah, at that point the game became near impossible to be played from the side of Venom Crest.
Trouble. I know there's something brewing. I know.
I'm fuming! Why is my Corki walking out for an auto attack? No, but obviously this whole thing comes with experience, right? And obviously he felt very safe there. He had 3 members of his team right behind him, but there was a fantastic flank from the Wukong. He was not on vision. He was looking for that Corki. So overextensions like these can cost you a lot, especially in that late game. TPs are not that fast anymore. Well, they're fast enough that late into the game, but especially in the early game, TPs are not that fast. So you need to be careful, especially when you're on a knife's edge, to not make plays like this. Walking up just for an auto attack on the Braum, getting flanked by the Wukong. When you don't have vision, you have to be a lot more cautious.
Yeah, and let's just look at that again. If there's a player with the most damage, right, in these stats, well, who else but Nomi, the 5-time Norwegian champion. What an NLC debut. Obviously a veteran of the Norwegian scene, but his first steps on to the big stage here in the NLC, and he lived up to the reputation he has down in Norway. 10-0, not even dying once, and I thought he had a great performance, although the game was very long.
I agree with you, so let's talk with the winners as well. We have, I believe, Nyx is waiting for us. So the jungler coming in from Rich Gang with the 2-0 on the first day as well for Group B. Hello, pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the interview. How are you doing? I have no sound whatsoever, so...
Oh, sorry.
Now we're talking.
Now it's fine, right? Alright.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really happy about today. I think first game we couldn't play with Nomi. I mean, also Rudy obviously couldn't play with leader and shit and stuff, but yeah, it was pretty clean game overall. And this one was complete like clown fiesta. It was something else, honestly.
Okay, let's be honest. We would like to keep it real on the interviews over here. You must be exhausted, like 40-minute plus game after playing versus Ready as well with the sub. You're exhausted, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay, I love that.
I just want to go sleep. It's really late here.
It's done. It's done. Tell me something. Okay, how would you describe your team? I heard from Banderas, everybody's like, it's like happy, everybody can have fun and all that. But leading the group and facing all these other teams, Ruddy as well, DMG, Venom Crest. If you had to pick another team to be at the top of the gang with you, because you're 2-0 right now, who would you pick?
I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I literally don't know anyone besides Los Ratones and Rudy. Like, it's like no offense, but I've been always playing in Spanish League and stuff, so I just don't know anyone. So I don't know. I mean, I would expect Rudy to be up there with us. So yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Nix, I'm gonna let you rest. Have a good one. Just enjoy this one. I'll see you soon. Next week we have more. You ready for that?
Yeah, I'm ready for the 4-0. Thank you very much, guys.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you soon. Oh boy, that's how you name it. Well, we're done with this one. We can move to the last game of the day. It's gonna be KAOS versus DMG. And I saw something specific, Duckley.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Go on.
I know you want to talk. Who do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about DMG versus KAOS. This is a game that, while they haven't played before in the NLC with KAOS having only played one game before, these are two storied Norwegian organizations who have been, pitted up against each other multiple times in multiple different Norwegian tournaments. So I went digging and to see who comes out on top when these two teams play. And let's take a look at the stats here. These were my findings. DMG has an academy that has played against KAOS, and over the course of 32 games, DMG have won 20 of them. But the more interesting part is if you don't count in DMG's academy, then the main takeaway is the last time KAOS won a game of any meaning against DMG was 2021 summer in the Norwegian National League. Other than that, they have lost multiple best of fives, including the Norwegian final just in 2023. So KAOS, man, against their Norwegian counterparts here, can't seem to get the upper leg as they haven't won that meaningful game against them in 4 years. But maybe that can change here today.
I'm about to hand you some really bad news here. Comparatively, DMG did show a pretty good face earlier on in the game versus Venom Crest. However, KAOS seemed to have taken the game a little bit too slow versus Ruddy, and they completely lost control of the map. Now, we spoke earlier with KAOS, and they said that they were going to go all out and stomp that last game. I want to see a little bit more life in the early game.
Yeah,
I think there is be fast.
There's a lot of pressure, right, on both of these teams. Yeah. Obviously, now we get Suhi back in. I think, from what I've heard, the main man on this KAOS roster, the guy to really look out for as the one who can shine the brightest. I'm excited for his NLC debut, obviously, I have to mention, a Dane. But also DMG, right, coming off a disappointing game number 1 with Venom Crest. They also still have a lot to prove, considering they have a roster in which I, at the very least, have quite a lot of expectations. So none of these teams would be happy going 0-2 into their final game day. Remember, you only play 4 games in seeding. It's 50% of your games done, and if you lost 50% of them, you can't finish anywhere near the top.
And he's Dane. So, Aurora and Skarner being
asterisk.
Yeah,
it's like
anything
asterisk.
that happens.
It's like a 3-page essay explanation. Asterisk. He's just a Dane.
I'm sorry, before we move on into the Champions Select, we're already diving in. We still have 2 more bands. You have no idea how... It's not difficult. The pleasure we have to work with Duckling. We were watching the game and somehow it was saying, but yeah, the cuisine in Denmark is the top of the world because there's no way out of this. It's a loophole. He's always talking about it. Maokai being banned, Victor as well, Wukong. Varus is still available. Calm down, Duckling. You got this. It's a good cuisine.
I love you all. I'm happy working with you all. It's a great experience. I'm happy I'm happy that you accept all my Danish blabbering. So I very much appreciate that, as it is hard to not keep mentioning it. Regardless, though, to talk about something else than my nation and the bans instead, I think these are very sensible bans, right? What does surprise me is the fact that DFG haven't tried to target Suhi in his mid lane pool, a very mage-oriented pool, but instead the Corgi, something he has relied upon a lot as well, could definitely be seen in the mid lane here if it doesn't go into Artfla in the bot lane.
I'm very surprised that he didn't compare the Wukong art on the ban to the Danish flag, which has got red and white. So we're going to completely bypass that. Corgi first pick again. We did see it being replied to with the Pharaohs on the other side, and it's going to be the same thing here for Fateski. And again, I want to reiterate that for both of these teams right here, when you're 0-1 on the first day, you definitely want to be taking that W. I think even more for KAOS. Duckling mentioned the historic rivalry between the two teams, no matter in which division they have faced each other. And I feel like for KAOS as well, coming as the underdogs of the entire group, and even maybe the entirety of NLC, it's so important to actually even grab one victory in this group.
Something the so far we're getting this stable one, and I do believe everything is going to change as soon as we hit on that fearless draft with the best of 3. Things are going to be extremely spicy. See? Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm excited
I'm not
to see
ready
what
for
the
this.
rotation will be here. Okay, so indeed they showed their hand quite early and lock in that Azir for Suhi in the mid lane. Expect them to play around him. Obviously, Azir not the easiest to play around early on, however, which does make things a little bit more interesting, as I would not be surprised to see a top lane here, or simply to give Taxvi more agency, pick one of the junglers that are stronger in the meta. It wouldn't be surprising seeing him something like the Jarvan, but I think top lane is also a decent option since you could get the counter pick already.
Yeah. There you go. He was banned on the previous one, and now he's picked Renekton, appearing for the first time today, even though he's banned.
I do like the Renekton here because Corki, Azir, you don't necessarily see them in the same team very often. You usually see them against each other. And both are champions that want to scale into the late game, specifically the Azir. You need an avenue to play through the early game. That's what we wanted to see from KAOS. We wanted to see them a little bit more active through that early, and the Renekton can do just that on the top lane. Now, of course, Cassante is not one of the champions that you can bully very easily, so you need a very active jungler in the early game, and 4 of them have already been banned out between the two teams. The champion pool is going to get trimmed even harder.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Taxi will put out here. He's someone who very much plays for the team, right? And you can see the junglers one by one being taken away. You could argue the Maikar could have been an option. They've banned that themselves. The Sejuani. I mean, the Jarvan is definitely still an option in there, but it wouldn't surprise me if DMG banned it next. I think Taxvi is really, he's the guy who built this team essentially, right? Getting the range from KAOS to build the team that has now gotten them promoted into the NLC. So he really is the glue, and it's key that he gets on a champion where he gets to be that, deciding factor, dictating the tempo and deciding where KAOS have to strike.
Few seconds before we left with the final ban, the Jarvan would be an interesting one. You still have some options as CC control in the jungle, but it's going to be the Viego, so at least it's open for them.
You do have a few choices through what we've seen. For example, the Amumu came through. You can go through much more dangerous routes if you want through the Talia. Potentially, we've seen Zyra jungle even in the LPL too. There's quite a bit of AP heavy damage between the Azir and the jungle, but it pairs up really nicely with the Renekton towards the top side of the map. Now, I wonder what else, because Ahri pairs up really nicely with Vi, so it's a great ban from the side of KAOS, and LeBlanc as well. So they want to get rid of any aggressive mid-jungle duo that can go up against that Azir in the mid lane to ensure that he has a very smooth lane phase.
Yeah,
there's another one.
Insta.
I mean, that isn't surprising in the slightest. Bisco is quite a big mage player. From what I have gathered in the time that I have seen him in the Danish scene, the Syndra, something he's very comfortable on. Now back though to KAOS, they have to look in their final 2 picks here. I think Jarvan is the most obvious choice for the jungle, but I'm excited to see if they pull something out of the hat.
You could be curious with this and bring in Italy with the Renekton on the top side and something really tanky on the bot.
Taxi wouldn't be playing that. That's not kind of Taxi.
He doesn't want to. Okay.
No. I think the Jarvan, right? You can argue it's not the best thing here, but knowing Taxi's champion pool and what he needs to bring to the team, it's really what's left, right? It's table scrap. See how many jungle bans. It's pretty much 5 jungle bans actually from the side here of DMG, very targeting towards Taxi's champion pool. So it's not the best, but it's all he has to get. He can get his hands on.
I'm not a big fan of the Jarvan here. I'm just gonna go straight ahead.
I was feeling it. I was letting you think.
Because I feel like Brom is most likely gonna be locked in right here for the bot lane, which means Nautilus is gonna suffer so much, which means the Jarvan cannot play through bot side, the Jarvan cannot play top side to snowball the Renekton because you're playing against a Cassante, and mid lane is not necessarily really an option because you're playing with an Azir, and you lose very hard to Syndra plus Vi in the mid jungle duo. So I feel like these bans and KAOS not keeping in consideration that their jungler is one of the very pivotal gears in the whole machine, and he's only left with the Jarvan, unless he can do something miraculous in the early game. I'm giving the reins over to DMG because they've got a fantastic transition from the mid jungle duo early game into splitting on these big fights front to back with the Varus later on.
Definitely, this could be 0-2 for one of these teams. The other one will get a 1-1, so that's kind of a saving grace for them. And when you look into the rosters and the way the compositions are done, I mean, you got to be honest, the DMG composition is looking extremely powerful.
Yeah.
If they get the time, they will be able to unlock the power. But where do you stand at the end? Because I know you're wearing the DMG shirt, but
I still am.
you had the
actually, yeah.
graphic.
I'm favoring DMG, right? I think the draft as well. Trouble is completely right. The Jarvan is by no means perfect here, but I think it's been a good move from DMG to really force KAOS's hand, right? Banning out 5 junglers. That is why I would have actually liked to see a jungle coming in the first rotation from KAOS, knowing how he's really the clock on the team, right? Or he, makes them tick. So prioritizing that jungler would have made more sense in my opinion from KAOS here, but they decided against it, and now their hand has been forced. It's an uphill battle for the underdogs here in the NLC and the brand new team in KAOS, but let's see if they can pull it off. I'm betting on DMG though. I think they're my favorites, and I did also predict them.
I'm with him. I think DMG have a much more put together draft, and I feel like Taxfig is going to have to work overtime here to make this job work in the early game.
Let's see what happens inside of the Summoner's Rift. Well, we were promised a stomp from KAOS, but Bucci is comfortable that he's going to take this one home. Whoever wins this one will at least be able to breathe. The other one, it's a bad start, but a good start is to toss to the casters Jamada in middle court.
Are you recovered?
I'm recovered. Yeah,
Yeah.
We've had some lengthy transition times. I managed to get myself a plate of food. Feeling energized, a little coffee. Had some coffee. The coffee's been out for a little while. It tastes a little stale now, but caffeine is still caffeine. Hopefully, as energized as I feel, the teams feel just as much.
Yes.
In terms of looking for plays, in terms of trying to get things going for themselves, because I don't know if I can get a repeat of game number 4. I don't know.
I mean, I think felt that
the one, yeah. Goodness me.
All I'm gonna say, Jamada, is we have got KAOS versus DMG. If they are not fighting often and early, then nominative determinism is just not a real thing.
I do agree. Don't know what that is, to be honest with you, but I agree. Yeah. League of Legends though.
Yes.
No lane swap.
No lane swap. Oh.
No late invade. Maybe.
A blessed day. A blessed day.
Just Braum and Varus. They're gonna poke their head in. Yeah, get a ward on the Raptors. Okay. Standard 2024 League of Legends makes its way to 2025. That's nice. I'm here for it. Both junglers are going to be sliding on the top side, though. As you kind of expected, and Trouble alluded to, right? Nautilus into Braum. It's a rough lane matchup. Very difficult to navigate throughout most stages of the game, frankly. However, I think very playable still, nonetheless, in terms of making plays happen, right? No matter what, you are still a Nautilus. You can still get things going, but again, it's just with that added caveat of walking away might be a little bit difficult with the Wither's Bite and the Concussive Blows passive being stuck on you.
Yeah. I think KAOS would argue that as long as they end up winning the fight, Arozzi is going to be absolutely fine giving his life to make that happen. But I mean, you could already see almost difficult to just walk up to the wave. Calm Sky positioned up in front of that bush and could just slowly walk at the members of KAOS. Oh, Daffler having to flash away under his own tower at the level 1. This is not the start that KAOS would have wanted.
It's not the start you want at all, and you have to remember, both these youngs are pathing towards the bottom side, so if health bars stay, as low as this, you can imagine, surely sooner rather than later, our Daffler is gonna just look for a reset ASAP. But if you can't find the window for that, certainly a dive gets forced, and you just take it just for the sake of making sure he misses a fair bit of XP. I mean, maybe even looks right now, maybe there's a window after he clears this wave, just go take the L. Go look for the reset now. I think that's going to be the case. It still feels really, really bad to have to reset so early on.
You are making the best of a bad scenario, and especially up against someone like Bitse, who really sort of made his name last summer on a lot of these like sort of quite tempo early ganking junglers. I think his Jarvan was really the big standout pick, but he could get it done on the Vi as well. If you're stood in a lane with a little bit less HP than maybe you should, he is absolutely the sort of player that would be willing to take advantage of that. Top lane's going to be interesting as well. Bucci, obviously, coming in from last year, very, very storied player within the NLC already in his short career. And I mean, Turtle, he's just casually solo killing like MSI champions for fun. So we don't talk about it. I mean,
look,
we can say it was a
we
solo
can,
kill.
I know. It's I'm just the cynical guy, you know. It's like, well, he solo killed Perks, but Perks playing not top, man. I can't, you know. There's only so much leeway I can give. But it's still a solo kill on Perks, which is a very cool little achievement to chuck in your cabinet.
Nothing too crazy going on in these early stages. We do see on the mirror out there a small roam from Rutsu towards the mid lane off that first base just to see if this guy is going to overstep, give him any sort of angle, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. So returning back down to this bottom lane, and despite how badly that early trade went for our Daffler, he's not exactly in the worst space. Went back to base, took a break, took a Kit Kat. And whilst he is a little bit down in CS, he's going to be able to collect the majority of this wave under the tower.
Definitely a much better start than the first 3 or 4 waves, being able to collect this one. But still, even once he picks up these waves, he's going to be down a good few hundred gold still. That's just off the first couple of levels. So hopefully for him, he can continue to close the gap, but it's going to be very difficult early on. Bitzer is going to use this opportunity, though, all this bottom side prio. Just pick up this dragon, and I mean, realistically, Taxvig is down here on this side of the map, but I think it's going to be too hard to contest. Maybe a fight after the fact, but again, it feels so risky into Braum. Syndra might be able to shift down her first move, too. So it will just be first dragon. No real option for a cross map.
Yeah, well, I mean, the grubs haven't even spawned yet, and Bucci taking that base, returning back to top lane with as many items as his gold is going to allow, and that level 6 as well, means that maybe actually DMG could find themselves in a position to double dip. Taxvik is making a beeline towards the Baron pit. It's not going to be too delayed a trade just because of how early that Drake ended up being taken. And with Bitsay on the bottom side, it doesn't look like DMG are going to be able to secure that objective either. So potentially going to be a trade, potentially actually going to be a gank into the mid lane here onto Bizgard. Going very aggressive for this trade, but cops that flash exactly when he needed to prevent himself from being shoved back by Zui into the waiting arms of Taxvig.
I love being able to hear the all chat pings go off, because it's like Bizgard flashed and I just heard about 7 pings of different people pinging that his flash is down. So expect Taxvig, I mean, with flash, with ultimate, right? Syndra's very immobile. She's only got that Scatter the Weak to work with in terms of dissuading aggression. And if you're getting attacked from 2 angles, you can only fire it one way, right? You either hit Taxvig, stop the EQ, or you stop Zuhi from scooping you back. You kind of have to pick your poison in that regard. So very good angle of attack from Taxvig. Going to look for the reset after Grubs. And that is going to leave us an objective apiece for both KAOS and DMG. And I think that's kind of okay for both teams. I don't think either team is too fussed about that. Grubs, however, does feel a little bit better, I would say, for KAOS, just on the grounds of, you know, you've got Renekton. He should be able to hit the tower a little bit more than a Cassante should be afforded to. And maybe a Zir on a side lane at some point for a brief time as well, right? That pressure put down. Maybe you chip away at those towers just a bit. Those small little incremental advantages. Always something that feel very good.
I think we could also look at potentially like the denial, actually, making sure that actually Fatesky and Calm Sky aren't going to have those grubs, because they have been doing a number on our Daffler and Rutsu in the bottom lane. That CS advantage continuing to grow here for the DMG AD carry. And Daffler with not too much to speak of in his inventory that is really going to give him all that much power. Like, yeah, the machine's nice, but you've not really got those combat stats. And with the amount of strength that the Varus has in the early stages, particularly with the press, the attack, I can definitely see a world where Bitsay just makes his way towards that bot lane ASAP and shuts this Corki down even further than he's already fallen.
Yeah, it's the curse of the Manamune plus Triforce build, isn't it? These early components sometimes feel rough. There's not many champions that, you know, build that combination of items, and it's like you hit Sheen, you feel good about it. I think Ezreal might be the only exception, and even then, it's like, is your name Dragdar? You know, is your name Dragdar?
Are you allowed to play Ezreal?
You know, are you? It's like, I love the memes. It's like, it's two entire. Like, it's pretty much just this, right? These are ground rules playing Ezreal at like the highest levels. It's, are you Chinese or Korean?
Yeah.
Or is your name Dragdar? That's it. Like, there's no other parameter allowed. Otherwise, you just end up looking like Jackie Love, you know, just eating forward every single time because Jackie Love's the only guy. Listen, I've spent my tenner casting the LPL watching that absolute psychopath for a little over a year and a half. I think I can.
Yeah. I think to a degree, though, it is a testament to the sort of longevity of his design. Ezreal has
absolutely.
He has been in the game for absolutely donkey's years, but still feels like we're only just getting to the point where people are maxing out the mechanics on this champion. Probably still be saying that in 5 years' time, not gonna lie.
Probably, and I mean, it's also kind of important to note, whilst there's not much going on, so let's talk game design, sure. Like, Ezreal's kit didn't really change that much. Like, his gameplay pattern really didn't change that much with the rework, right? If you are maybe a younger League of Legends player, then perhaps you don't necessarily remember the Ezreal rework. This is just the Ezreal you've always had. Not that he's in the game, by the way, so it's not even really topical, we're just talking about it. But his old W was basically just an attack speed steroid and a very, very low amount. I was trying to find a word really
I mean like,
apt, but
to be fair though, Arcane shifting into that so you can grant the attack speed buff to yourself.
It was a cool little.
It felt cool.
It did feel cool, but it felt right that they reworked the W and turned it into what it is now. And it does feel a little bit cooler using that version or this version, doing like the weird hybrid AP builds and stuff. Mostly when you're playing ARAM mostly. Though on the topic of Ezreal and Dragdar, I'm pretty sure he was playing some weird Ezreal build like Horizon Focus and something, and it was genuinely a relatively optimal build for
I swear, like he will pop something on Twitter every few weeks with just the weirdest item. And you look at it and you go, wait, hold on, it actually works really well. Bitsay able to pick up that second dragon. Thinking about picking up a kill onto Zui, but itself and Calm Sky decide better than to engage on the Azir.
With the extra bodies around, right? You always run the risk of pressing your ultimate on Azir and then getting shuffled under the tower. And it's not exactly a game that this time around Bitsay was willing to commit to. We'll take those grubs though. And even though Taxvig is around, Turt was looking for a reset, but he's cancelled it. Problem is there's just not really enough numbers around. Even with his teleport down to the bottom side from boot sheet. Doesn't seem like it's going to be contested, so grubs are over, 3 apiece.
Jamada.
It
12 minutes. No.
I know.
We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there. 12 minutes into the game. Let's talk about FaceSki's item build here. Going for the Kraken Slayer. Don't really see this all that often on the Varus. You got any idea what the thinking is behind this?
Well, my first natural response would be normally ADC players don't think much about their build. That said, Kraken Slayer plus PTA, it's a lot of upfront damage on a single target, even comparatively to Bork at times. There are obviously HP-ish stackers on the opposite side on KAOS, but you are still going to be afforded a lot of damage, and also damage onto some squishies as Zuhi.
Discard, popping the ultimate, Zuhi diving in. That is a very, very simple first blood there for Biscard. Zuhi just not respecting the amount of the damage that Syndra is able to output as Trade of engages here in the top lane. Arozzi though, gonna not quite get stunned. definitely getting the worst end of things there. So it's the second time that we've sort of seen Bitse go for one of these hovers. Just waiting in the wings, hasn't been able to find a kill out of it yet, and with him returning to base, not going to get anything here for the time being.
That was a head scratcher. That was a head scratcher. But hey, DMG now have feats of strength, so tier 3 boots eventually available for them. Yeah, I'm not sure what Zuhi was thinking there. Maybe the 30 minutes of inaction finally got to him. You know, everyone's got a breaking point. I don't think we hit ours last game. Not quite. Not quite. No, I think we were close.
We didn't?
No. Oh, trust me. Trust me. I've, you know, been in the game a little while now, Middlecott, and I can tell you, trust me, we might have been sailing there, but we weren't that rough waters. You know, the roughest of waters yet. But DMG at that first, that's gonna feel nice for Bisgard, right? I spoke about that mid-jungle 2v2, whilst we haven't necessarily seen that interaction per se. Syndra being the sole magic damage on this team, going to be able to do wonders with all that additional gold. Though, as I say that, I look at the inventory. Blackfire, Torch, first. Syndra. Interesting one.
Ritsu's potentially not going to be a fan of what DMG are doing to him. Bitse just jumps on top of him and secures a kill for himself. Taxfig potentially going to be the next victim. Zuhi turning up, but there's just too much CC. Double kill for Bitse coming out of the jungle, and DMG really starting to come alive a little bit more in this game.
Yeah, definitely so, right? And I mean, hey, with a Vi in the game, like last game, I know we had engage tools, but they were kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Conditional on some things. You know, well, not used is definitely very apt. But they were conditional, right? Skill shot.
Yeah.
You know what you know what's unconditional? Once you press R, bro, you're in. You're going. And the enhanced blast cone, even with the flash over the wall, you're still gonna be followed. And even though it's quite deep, Bitse just doesn't really take damage. Just even Skullcrab wants in on the action. All that chain CC allows Bitse to pick up both those kills in that play. So gonna be a little bit accelerated towards the next item or so. We'll see how he gets on for the remainder of the game as that main initiator. Right? He is always going to be the first guy going in to a team fight, or of course trying to prevent one of the primary engagers like Grutzo or Taxfig.
I think we saw there a very nice encapsulation of what DMG wants to do with this composition. Right, there is so many pick tools available for them. We saw like Bitse diving in, casting the ultimate, and then we had Scat of the Week, we had the Chains of Corruption coming in, as well as I think Turtle's taken potentially a little bit too much damage to feel comfortable in the 1v1. She's not quite connecting there with his W, which means that he's going to stay alive. As in the mid lane, we're seeing another fight here initiated by DMG, but this one is not going anywhere near as good. Taxing flashing away for one more auto, but Zui with the flash shuffle is not enough. Fatesky stays alive on slithers of HP, and DMG win another fight.
That Scat of the Week from Bisgard was huge.
Retzel! Oh my word, playing with fire, but KAOS don't quite get burned. They push DMG away from the tower and are able to get on out of there.
As much as he giveth, he almost took her from DMG. Bisgard there. That Scat of the Week onto Zuhi to stop the DPS coming forward on the back end of that play was excellent. How did it kick off? We were looking at a topside fight. Bitse just barely misses that Q flash, but still finds the ultimate and just commits for our Daffler. Goes a little bit too deep, eats too much damage, whilst Fatesky is trying to kill off that Nautilus. Then it's about this flash forward. Doesn't quite scoop under Bisgard, and if he does, then it looks like a different play entirely. Then the Scat of the Week comes forward. All those orbs are on the floor from having hit Taxvig, so very easy connection made there. Scat of the Week goes wide this time on our Daffler, and Grutzo tries his best to CC down Bisgard for a little bit more damage, but no more kills come forward.
Could have been a lot worse on the back half of that play for either of the teams involved, but as it stands, it's still DMG with a slight advantage, but KAOS fighting back a little bit. They've not been too hot on these dragons, so this is going to be a very early soul point going over to DMG, but with that Rift Herald in pocket, KAOS have got the option of putting that in a lane, trying to take one of these outer towers and get a little bit more gold in their pockets.
Yeah, that's giving that option. And DMG are going to have KAOS, a mass amounts of pressure. On 5 minutes time. Could be a lot of objectives on the map too, as Bucci, how much work can or can he not get done here? Oh, doesn't quite interrupt Taxvig. He doesn't have IBG either, so even if he could get a dash forward and find a Q, get the auto in, it's not going to be enough for a Calm Sky to get involved. So just a free tower take, good rotation from KAOS to claw a little bit of gold back. No answer on the map either.
Yeah. I think key as well, like that's a tower take that isn't using that Rift Herald, right? So they've still got the option of throwing that down somewhere. Zui with a little bit of free time, able to get damage down onto this bottom tier 1. And whilst only one tower has fallen, like I feel like most of the towers on the map are only one good push away from dropping, and whichever team is able to chain those maneuvers together is going to gain themselves a pretty significant map advantage.
Yeah, they will. I think for KAOS, the opportunity to really snowball off the back of one team fight is really prevalent here, just because of how low these towers are in mid and in bot, right? This is definitely a Herald charge by itself, whilst the tier 1 is not necessarily a super valuable tower just because of where it is on the map. Certainly can still yield a lot of gold and momentum, right? Maybe you get that charge all the way up to the tier 2. Life starts to look really, really good if you can kill that tower as well. For now, though, Herald will be held on to. Still got 2 minutes left of usage. And it comes at a bit of an awkward time because Atakan's going to spawn. Atakan's going to spawn in the top side of the map, actually. And Baron will spawn 5 minutes after, but 2 minutes before Baron spawns, we've got Chemtech. They're creeping around the mid lane now because it looks like they're probably wanting to put the Herald down in this area, but they have the information that Bitse is on the side. Engaging into Brom is always a little bit scary. Running away is hard, and there you go. Chains of Corruption.
Yeah, there it comes. Chains of Corruption into the Glacial Fissure, into absolutely everything. Nicely buffered. The EQ combo from Taxvig to keep the casualties to a single member of KAOS. But Faceski seems to just want to fight him in his face. Significant amounts of burst damage coming out from the Varus. You can't underestimate the power of that Blight proc.
No, you really can't. Blight proc plus, you know, Kraken Slayer proc at the same time in this case. And that's one of those instances where, you know, Kraken Slayer can really put in a lot of work. The additional, you know, proc every other auto because of Gwinsu's being stacked up helps a lot. As we see a death. Was this a death in the picture?
I think it was a TP
it was interrupt on the TP.
Yeah,
of course, right. Just looked over at the HUD. So Bucci definitely saved that play a little bit too. Didn't even notice the teleport entirely. Taxvig trying to capitalize on some aggression from DMG, but just a little bit too slow to the punch.
Now going to be summoned. KAOS attempting to trade for the mid lane tower as theirs was taken on the previous attempt, and DMG I think wisely backing away, recognising there isn't too much they can do to stop this from going down. Turtle now getting into a little bit of a sticky situation here with Bucci. 2 items on both of these top laners, but the all-out just gives so much sustain to the Cassante in the 1v1.
Yeah, and it's, you know, double armor items as well. Thorn Mail plus, of course, this Iceborne Gauntlet. So not only is the heal cut there, but sticking power alongside the additional damage from the Sheen procs is really frustrating to deal with. Even with the items that Turtle's built, it's not looking like it's quite enough to cut through the all-out form. So that's definitely something, you know, if you're KAOS, you're mildly concerned about, right? That's probably not a side lane that gets better with time. It does look like it will have to be a Bucci has to misstep to make that 1v1 go awry. Now, we're 30 seconds out from this Chemtech Soul from DMG. If I was to be a little bit critical, I think their reset times are a little bit late, but I think it's not. Actually, it might end up marrying because the KAOS are here, so if they end up having to walk in, this looks like a completely different fight. Though, as I say it, DMG have kind of won almost every exchange they've had walking in or being first to the objectives hasn't really mattered so far. And they're just going to push out just the presence of Braum, and that's why it can be so powerful. They know they can't engage onto him. So many other supports you can just turn and kill the support and then just look to snowball the fight, but Braum is so different. Puts up the wall, takes so much less damage, applies the passive, potentially get knocked up, get chain CC'd off the back of it. It's so hard to ever displace him.
Can you tell that this dragon is going to be a soul? KAOS stacking 5 members in the way. Chains of Corruption going to go down, dropped onto the Nautilus. So looks like he's going to be dropped before, able to contribute very much to this fight. Will fall to Bizguard as Bitse and Bucci are going onto the backline. Facey's been able to get a kill on the Jarvan as well, and Zuhi pops the Emperor's Divide, but he's been cut in half. Too little, too late on some of those teamfight tools from KAOS. DMG get the 3 for 0, and they're going to get a soul off the back of it.
It's a complete wipe, isn't it? DMG, their carries are just pretty much untouched. Both still have flash up. Taxfig forces the engage on the backside once things really kick off, but there's no follow-up on his Cataclysm on top of the carries. They feel no threat to even flash. And initially, it's, you know, Fatesky is able to just cut through the health bar of the Nautilus. And this is where you think, well, you know, engage onto 2 relatively squishy champions. Well, there's just no follow-up because Bucci and Bitse are pretty much locking down the Azir, keeping everyone else at bay. So good job from DMG front to back. No real threat again onto Fatesky. And once those Almots come back up, they can do the exact same thing at Atacon. They can do the exact same thing at Baron, as both those buffs are going to be up and available. And on the same side of the map, with Chemtech Soul as well, we've seen KAOS have struggled to really finish off kills. That issue is just going to be accentuated with that buff.
DMG feel like in the Ascendancy would be a little bit anachronistic. They are Ascended, they are the team that is in control. Whilst the gold is not too significant in their favour, there is a lot of unspoken power in their composition, in their kits, on their backs as they're looking for another fight here. The engage a little bit more disjointed than we've seen in previous, but KAOS running backwards tells the story of the fight. They do not want to take on DMG in a straight up 5v5. They need to find a weird angle, they need to find a weird pick if they're going to hope to win out on these engagements.
Yeah, and I just don't know when it happens, right? If DMG stay in this very solid formation, Comms guy is just, he just understands. He knows he's really unkillable this game. And when Bucci's around too, it just becomes another massive wall. It's very, very hard to overcome. I'm going to start off Atacon here. I mean, KAOS, they're going to have to look to try and stop this from going down, because if the GA comes up, then it's just a free Baron.
I think they recognise that. Ardaf are going to be able to cleanse away as Bitse is engaging onto the Nautilus. Bucci potentially a little bit caught out there, but Santi has so much HP, so much sticking power, pulls back Taxfig, kidnaps him away. And it's starting to look a little bit too easy for DMG. Another couple of kills in their back pocket. Atakan, top tower, Baron. Whatever do you want, guys?
Yeah, draft. It's just so hard to play, right? And I feel like DMG, not only are they at a massive draft advantage, they're just executing better, right? They're capitalizing on these mistakes. Ardaf steps too far forward, immediate CC thrown at his face, right? Cleanse has to get blown, and it just snowballs into the rest of that skirmish. It's so hard, so hard to really see a world where KAOS could even begin to think to overcome this. And it's only a 3,500, 4,000 gold lead, right? But it feels so much bigger. And it's gonna grow now as Baron secured. Everyone's gonna take a reset, and with GA from the Atacon buff, Baron and Chemtech Soul, it's just a matter of time, and it feels like more of a question of how much damage is DMG actually gonna get done with this.
Wouldn't surprise me if it's a fair bit. Still that ring of tier 2 towers available for KAOS, so a little bit of strength on their side lanes, and with the waves pushed up, that is going to delay DMG in this Baron push. But I mean, we saw Zui TPing down towards the bottom side as soon as that fight really ended. He recognized, the rest of KAOS recognized that nothing more that they could really do in that situation. DMG have now got a couple of minutes where these sieges are going to be a heck of a lot easier, and usually when I'm seeing a team with a Nazir, with a Corki, I'm thinking, okay, this is a team that can stand strong at those structures, but DMG, it's just so easy for them to throw themselves forwards onto whoever they want, really. And those towers will provide scant protection.
I like that, scan protection. There's not really going to be much they can do. Bitset. It's so strangely tanky as well. It feels like anytime he's gone in there, I mean, Chemtech's also going to help with that now. As I say it, I mean, look how hard. He's just face tanking.
It's just punching them repeatedly in the face, and Bucci's going to hit them over the head with the Entofos. Bizgard getting a kill in the bottom lane, and DMG are just having fun at this point. KAOS by name, KAOS by nature, but they are not thriving in this chaos one bit. It's all about DMG. Bucci's got that revive. He knows he can do whatever he wants, as in the bottom side, the rest of his team are taking structures for fun. As 3 dead, how much more can DMG get?
Should be the game. I mean, wave clear's gone. It's just the tanks here of KAOS, and even if people die, GAs are still up.
Yeah, they're just throwing themselves forward with reckless abandon. Nexus exposed. DMG finish off the day with a W.
Good, clean League of Legends from DMG. Not much else to say. 16-1 the kill score. You know, sometimes kill score's not super indicative of how a game went. That one, very much so. It felt like a 16-1 game from start to finish. Great stuff, and I think the draft, again, just credit to DMG putting together a composition that was very hard to break down and getting a very good read on what it felt like KAOS wanted to try to play for, and shutting it down before it even really got going.
And hear me out, Jamada. What I really liked about that game was how for the first sort of 12-13 minutes, nothing much really happened. Okay, but as soon as DMG saw that little slither in advantage, saw a way that they could win out these fights. Boom, 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 boom. Every single time. And unfortunately for KAOS, I feel like that's the second time today that we've seen them lie down a little bit and not really find the ability to make proactive maneuvers. I think the first game of the day for them ended much earlier in terms of how we were calling this game, but they were in it for a decent while up until they just let it slip away from them.
Yeah, like you said, it was 5 big booms and then not really much that KAOS could get going with, right? And it did feel like about 5 big skirmishes that more or less in sequence, back to back to back to back to back to back, that prevented KAOS from playing the game. Because again, of massive individual moments, I think Calm Sky had a fantastic game on the board that time around. So much presence, so much space bought for the rest of his team. Bizgard and, you know, the crucial scat of the week, I think, onto Zuhi in that mid lane play, pretty much, you know, it stopped the play from being potentially, or realistically, probably a KAOS winning play, right? And at that point, then maybe the game looks entirely different off the back of that, because the game was still close at that point. But you prevent that scoop from happening, or you prevent the damage from that scoop from following through, you get to win out and on the play, and again, transfer that and transition that into a much, much grander lead.
Well, I tell you what, Jamada, it has been a mix of lots of different League of Legends games on the NLC today. If I could ask you to sum your experience up in one word, one single collection of letters from the English language, what do you reckon today's been?
Ooh, equilibrium.
I like that. Goodbye from us. We're going to be going to a break. We'll see you. Well, we won't. The analyst desk will see you on the other side.
DMG takes down KAOS, even though KAOS were saying, hey, we're gonna stop them. Well, DMG did a terrific game, and obviously Atakan showed up, did the withdraw, as you love so much, Troubling, and we were able to wrap this one up. The day is done, but I want to know more about the game itself before we wrap it up. KAOS versus DMG. Why did it happen? What it did?
Well, I just want to start by saying that I feel like the jungle pool was heavily chipped over in draft. There were 5 jungle bans from the side of DMG, and it seemed to have really struggled up the entire champa pool for the jungle for Taxfig. I feel like that Jarvan just didn't do the composition justice, especially because you couldn't play through top side of a Euronect, and it was against like a Sante. You go Bromed over on the bot side of the map, and your mid jungle duo loses to the Vi Syndra situation. So I just felt like in the early game there were just not many avenues for KAOS, and they just dropped way too many objectives.
I agree with you 100%. I need to know more about this Jarvan and the way it was supposed to work and why it was the Jarvan as well. So that's why we're going to communicate with the Jarvan itself. Taxvik is waiting for us on the interview. Pleasure to meet you. We got to talk about this Jarvan. We got to talk about this Jarvan.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Bit bummed out.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Was it like lack of options, or were you like really keen towards that Jarvan?
Well, I mean, I did take 5 bans, didn't I? I mean, I did not really want to play Jarvan. I mean, obviously, it was good in the draft, I think. But it's not something I have been playing much lately, and I think that showed, sadly. But that's on me, I think. It's not like I didn't have options.
If
right?
you could go back, no bans. No bans on you, Tax.
No bans?
What would have picked? Yeah. What would be the pick?
This game, I'm taking the Viego, I think.
Ah, they gotcha. They gotcha.
Yeah.
So if you could define yourself in 3 champions that you love to play, so we get to know you more, Tax. Is it Viego? More.
Viego, I don't know.
I gotta learn, man. I gotta learn.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a really big Graves player, and
Okay.
I used
Slap
like
in the Graves.
Echo
Okay.
back in the day. Or so.
Echo.
Yeah.
Now I'm enjoying this because
But
that
that champion is,
symbolizes
like-
that you can play a lot of different play styles. And when we talk about
Sure.
that, as soon as we get into a best of 3, are you comfortable with the fearless draft? Do you believe your team will be capable of handling that?
For sure. That I'm not really too worried about. But for groups, I mean, actually, I will not go there, I think. But
So
but I'm
Tax,
not worried about fearless draft.
Today was not a good day. It was not a good start. Obviously, like the team joining in, nervous system at 100%. What will change from today for day 4?
What will change? I think I think it's a matter of confidence. I think we just need to find our confidence on these officials, because we are not really ourselves, I don't think, in how we are playing, both our comms and our body language, if you will.
Okay, final question for you, just to get to know you better. Just one more question. What's your other skill in life? What's your other skill? I just talked with someone who was a magician. So what is your other skill in life?
My other skill in life.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking, I don't know. Can I curse? Sorry.
Well, you're now text.
my bad. Not even sure. I mean.
You can't say watch movies. No, that doesn't work.
No, of course. I like to think I'm really good with people. Is that a skill?
People.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's a people skill.
All right.
You interact with
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay, I like that. So I'm just planning some content for the future with you and see how it goes. Okay. Tax, it was a pleasure to meet you. Let's see what
Likewise.
changes from today to next day. And come on, I want to see KAOS. I want to see who you really are. That personality you were talking about, I want to see it. And why is that an L behind you, by the way? What is that?
L? Oh, it's like
L on the other side.
Louisiana is like
okay.
a Picasso poster that I haven't gotten to hang up yet.
Okay, that's another skill. You don't put up stuff. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I
Hey, thank you
guess.
so much for the interview. I'll see you soon.
Alright.
Thanks.
It was fun. See you guys.
See ya.
Mm.
I gotta get to know them, you know. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
break the wall, you know.
Lovely guy,
They're
Texby.
not-
Lovely guy, Texby. I mean, having talked with him over a few times, right, and seen him in the Danish scene grow on the DMG Academy roster, I was really excited for his debut, heading into the NLC. I think as a whole for KAOS as an organization, a debut to forget, but I really hope they can bounce back from what I've heard from these players and what. Like, I got sold on this roster chatting to Texby. He really sold me on the talent that was in there, and it's disappointing we didn't get to see today. And I think he's right about the confidence thing, because you can see glimmers of the good mechanical skill that they have inside these 5 players. They just need to be able to, you know, bring it to the Rift. And as Trouble also highlighted, they're a bit too passive, right? I want to see that confidence. Go for those plays, guys. You have it in you, and I really hope they bounce back in week 2 and we see more of KAOS, because I think this team could be very fun to watch.
I feel like we
Chaos,
talked about this a little bit yesterday, where it's like, I feel like teams, it's so much easier to figure out how to close out a game rather than to fix the early game. I mean, hell, it took you to a hell lot of time and years to figure out how to start to fix the early game. But the good thing is that Taxvik said, you know what, my skill is being good with people. So I feel like this is what a team of rookies really needs. People that are kind with other people and they want to help other people understand and develop and get better at what they do. So I feel like more of my developmental focus would be needed to go into the next week for them.
100% for DMG. Well, they're able to end up the day with a 1-1. I was promised a stomp. It was not really a stomp, so I have to talk with him again. Bucci, we have a conversation to set up. Bring him up. I want to judge him.
Is
The
he there?
interview.
Oh.
Easy. Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Wait, why is more light coming into your room now that it's later in the day?
Yeah, because I know
How
how
does it
to
work?
use this thing.
Ah, it's a lamp, okay. Because
Yeah,
their
he's
mark
like,
doesn't
I mean,
have
like,
that.
I
so,
wouldn't
you know,
call myself a genius, you know, but I mean, I am somewhat of a genius after all. Like,
You're somewhat
I am another
of a
lamp, but I only
genius.
use one, you know. I'm humble.
Hey, it was a 1-1. Not bad, is it?
Yeah, I mean, not bad. I mean, I think honestly, I would have liked to get some solo kills or something. It was a bit boring, you know, just in top lane, like playing this. Oh, jag intervjuas nu. Nej.
Hello, man.
Alltså seriöst. Sluta.
Hey!
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting ganked right now, but listen. Okay. What was the question now again? I forgot.
You just lost yourself. You said you wanted to get some more kills and all that. Bucci, tell me something. Previous split, you were complaining, I don't want to play Cassante. I want to play my champions. You're doing it again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, you know, lane swap meta.
If you could pick 3 champions, I just asked Tax the same thing. 3 champions. Come on.
I mean, my
three
3 favorite champions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, you know, it's still Xante, Jace. Ooh, who is the last one? I don't know, like maybe Renekton or something. Like some of those.
Wow. Top laners are really complicated, man. We lack originality, man. So one of the things I've been getting a taste of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it does feel like Group A is way more action-packed than Group B.
Yeah,
Do you
I
feel the
agree.
same? Okay. So
mean,
when they
you know,
clash
they have
against each
some,
other,
I mean, they have some like fun people. Like, you know, I want to play against Baus. I want to play against Visechachi. I mean, like, you honestly, I won't lie. Like, I played against Baus a couple times in solo queue. Like, I don't know. Like, some of these games are like completely illegal. Like, he's stealing the games from me. I think. Like, he's stealing them. So, like, when I'm playing against this guy in competitive, you know, I will win. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get humbled in solo queue and in like competitive. You know, no way.
tell me something. If you win, it's going to be a huge, like, it's going to improve your life. Let's call it this way, because you finally are able to defeat Baus. But if you lose versus Baus, I would like you to make a video apologizing to Baus.
I mean, sure. I mean, like, as long as, like, listen, if I win, I want Rat Slayer in my name. Like, Gucci, the Rat Slayer. That is gonna be my name then. Like, Deal?
I love it.
Wait,
Uh-huh.
wait. Like what they do, like in the chat. Deal? Like the rats, you know.
Okay, he's the rat slayer. But if you lose, you know.
Yeah, and then I do my apology video, and I will apologize to Baus. I will apologize to all the rats. Then I will just humbly step back and call him the superior top laner.
I'm so happy there's something called clips, because it's already clipped, by the way. Thank you so much for this, Bucci. Next week, are you ready for week 2?
Of course.
What's gonna change?
I mean, I'm gonna play against Banderas and Perks. I mean, but apparently Perks got solo kill today in Nor versus Maokai, which is a bit interesting.
Playing.
What?
Nord was not playing.
No, Perks.
Yeah. Okay, you said
he
Nord,
got
but it
solo
doesn't
killed
matter.
by
Yeah.
earlier today by Maokai, like as Nor, you know. So I'm not really scared of him anymore. And then I mean Banderas. I mean, listen. Me and Banderas, that's gonna be banger. Like, me and Banderas, we're gonna go at it. I mean, we'll see who gets Gesante, but I think I have an ace up my sleeve, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, Renekton probably. Okay. Hey, Bucci, thank you so much for this one. I wish you the best for the next week, and I hope to see you again. Oh, the Rat
It was lovely having
Slayer
you.
on an apology. Oh, I'm so hyped about that one. Thank you so much, Bucci. I'll see you soon. Oh,
That's
the Rat
spicy.
Slayer.
Yeah, I love Bucci, man. What a great personality to have in the NLC, right? He's really grown a lot while he's been here on light side and now DMG, and all pro top last split. He definitely has a mouth to follow that title. A bit up and down today, I will say. We saw some good, we saw some bad, but Bucci always delivers content, that's for sure.
You know what?
100%.
He said he's played against the Baos a couple of times in solo queue, and he doesn't know how his game is being stolen away. That's the magic. That's the magic of the Messi of League of Legends, baby. He takes the ball under your feet, and it feels like you've never touched the ball to begin with. Diving back into the game with just Watts, though, I feel like KAOS were doing good until the game completely slipped under their hands. They were pretty even, and again, we talked with Taxvik as well. That Jarvan didn't necessarily get going really early on in the game. I feel like you needed that extra power that the Viego that he wanted to play was going to bring into the game. However, DMG were very well started, banned that out last, and it felt like it was a pretty easy breeze. I feel like they got all of the neutral objectives at the beginning. They grabbed feats of strength really quickly over a whoopsie from the mid lane 1v1 where the first blood went over to DMG. So all in all, I feel like... Okay, I'm sick of seeing top laners with 30k damage.
That's
man. I can't even finish my
Jesus.
thought. I can't even finish my thought because top laners always complain about top lane, yet they do that much damage on a tank build. Nah.
You have a very good point there, Trouble. Very good point. But I mean, DMG, right? This was really, I want to say, a must-win for them, at the very least, if they want to keep up with my expectations of them, and I think the expectations they have of themselves too. They believe that they can be a team in this league that can turn more heads and continue to do what they did from spring, right, and surprise everyone by getting into playoffs. So obviously they will qualify for playoffs here, but I'm more thinking in terms of how long of a run they can potentially make it there. So crucial win for them to get on the board, also showing that first game was I don't want to call it a blip because they did definitely get destroyed by Venom Crest that looked very good in that game number 1, but shows that they also have something to offer, right? I think that's the right way to phrase it.
And with that in mind, it finishes day 2 of NLC Winter Split for the group stage. It's only 2 days. We still have 2 more for next week, so be sure to tune in. And talking about tuning in, obviously we want you to be comfortable. We want you to be cozy on that beautiful chair that Treble is currently sitting. And if you want one of those, it's up to you to participate. All you have to do is go onto Twitter, follow NLC, go onto Instagram, follow Arozzi chairs, and then like and retweet the post. It's so easy. I don't know why you're not doing it. You can win one of these beautiful and gorgeous things. Like the thing I'm most interested about is the headrests. I've heard it's beautiful, like and really comfy.
It
I know,
is,
it's
but
the shape.
I have a bun here, so it would bang against the headrest, so I had to take it off today.
Ah, okay. I was wondering, what is it? But yeah,
I have this at the back of my head, so I can't,
it kind of complicates things. So also what we have is today's results. Oh, are you not aware of what happened during the day? go on to the VOD. But until then, I'll let you know. We had a beautiful day yesterday and a beautiful one today. It's Rich Gang taking down Ruddy on the first one, Venom Crest picking the first victory of the split, then Ruddy going for revenge versus KAOS, Venom Crest losing versus Rich Gang, and DMG dominating on the last one versus KAOS, who's the team who's taking on the O2 on this second day. And what do you have to say about this one, both of you?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Rich Gang for being the first team to reach 2-0 in this group. They were definitely contenders, I want to say, for the top 2, but they were absolutely not the ultimate favorites of the group, with Ruddy bringing the current roster with, you know, MSI champs, Worlds finalists, yada, yada, yada. So I feel like they've done a fantastic job for themselves. Not only gained that 2-0, but doing that by beating Ruddy on the first game.
Yeah, I think my main takeaways, if we look across all the teams, right? Venom Crest, they have the talent. B-Score had a, I think, good debut day on DMG. Had 2 very solid games, especially considering they got smashed in the first game. He did still look very solid for a brand new rookie, might I add. And as Trouble also said, yes, Rich Gang are here to play, but Ruddy very clearly stepped up as the Ruddy Sack unleashed their full potential, right, in game number 2 with Leader back in the lineup. So I think things are still very much open in this group, and I'm excited to see if game day 2 will change anything, or if Rich Gang will finish top of this, because that is very much the possibility now.
But what we have ahead of us, I'll show you what's on the schedule, what's on the menu, and there you go. You have the seeding stage of Play Day 1, Play Day 2 completed. Play Day 3 will be played on 22 of January, following it up with the last Play Day, which is the 4th one, on 23 of January next week. So be sure to tune in. You know the games. All you have to do as well is follow on NLC on Twitter. You have to do it in order to win that share, so it's, you know, complimentary. With it and in mind, Trouble Inc., it was such a pleasure to have you back with us. I'm really happy to have you on our team. Duckling, I'm happy you're with us as well, with all that knowledge. And have you realized that Duckling's beard is actually Danish? That's all for today. Keep climbing. I'll see you soon.